Israel Adesanya was literally the most parlayed fighter in the history of UFC sports betting, and he absolutely blew it. Thankfully, we were minimally exposed. I definitely took a hit. I still made a tiny bit of money. Jacob made a whole bunch of money, and we're going to try to do that all over again for Noche UFC. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire Noche UFC fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before I do, let me give you $50. Today is payday, meaning today is the day that I pay everybody who went to wewantpicks.com/bets and signed up with any one of our betting partners. If you do that, I send you $50. I do a couple of payouts a week, depending on the week, and I end up paying thousands of dollars out a month. It's affiliate marketing. We have deals with various sports books. They're going to pay us a commission for everybody who signs up and makes a deposit using our link. And then I break off a piece of that money and I send it right back to you. If you want that $50, go to wewantpicks.com/bets, sign up using our link, make a deposit, and I will send you $50. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, very real money, not like a deposit match from my bank account to your bank account. Let's take a look at UFC 293. I mentioned Israel Adesanya, the most parlayed fighter. This is what the sports books are saying. The most parlayed fighter in the history of betting on MMA, and he blew it, which means the majority of you and us took a big hit on Israel Adesanya. My safety parlay missed because I had Israel Adesanya in that. If I remove the safety parlay, all of the bets that I put in the betting video that I give you in these videos, those are up. I made 0.16 units. A unit for me is $100. I made $16. And you know what? With a giant upset like that, I'll take the $16. Jacob is up very solid. Jacob's lock of the week hit again. If you don't know what that is, he picks an underdog every single week. So somebody who's supposed to lose, stakes his name on it, does an incredible video about it, and goes into detail why he thinks that person will win. This week, it was Chepe Mariscal. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the fantasy crushed as well. Prize Picks won, Underdog Fantasy won, and more of you are doing that, which is great. Here's a closer look at Jacob's lock of the week. It has been a resounding success. This is not a premium thing. You're about to hear me plug premium. Lock of the week is free. I'm just giving Jacob his all due respect. He's up almost 26 units all time, and this is picking only underdogs. The ROI on Jacob's lock of the week is 62.68%. If you bet 1 unit on every single one of Jacob's lock of the weeks, like each week, even the rough patches, the wild successful stretches, all of that comes out to 62.68% ROI, and he has hit 6 of his last 8. Let me give you my rapid fire thoughts with Big Ange. My quick opinions on UFC 293. First of all, I'm not a conspiracy guy, and I'm not putting conspiracy out there. A little convenient that the most parlayed fighter in the history of the sport, the 6-1 favorite, shows up looking like that, doing nothing. Here's my opinion. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't think he took a dive. None of that. But if he was to take a dive, no, he didn't do that. In all seriousness, no, I'm going to give Izzy some respect, and I'm going to tear him down. He's probably the most active champion in the history of UFC. It was like 11 title fights, just showing up, getting it done. We should appreciate how much we've gotten to see him fight. Because the fact that this kid was being talked about as being the greatest of all time, or almost the greatest of all time, right? He's number 2. If he's not number 1, he's not number 1. He would just go out there time and time again, defend that belt, and continue to fight over and over and over. One of the most active champions ever. So congratulations, good for him. Frankly, I think he only took this fight against Sean Strickland because he's like, it's probably an easy fight. And let me give the Australian fans some love, right? This is where I am. I live in this general area. Let me give them some appreciation. I'll headline this card. What he should have done is sat out and waited for Dricus. That monster payday is probably gone. Now they got to figure out what to do. But let's give some Izzy some respect in that regard. As far as his performance is concerned, straight up bitch. Straight up bitch. You can't handle Sean Strickland's pressure. Sean Strickland had 0 power, and then all of a sudden in this fight, this dude's a one-hitter quitter fighter. The fact that Izzy couldn't handle just backing up the entire fight is absolutely shocking to me. Izzy's supposed to be one of the best strikers ever. Ever. Not this month, not this ever. And he couldn't handle Sean Strickland just marching forward 1-2, 1-2. Couldn't handle it. That was shocking. I don't know if something's going on. I don't know if, listen, just a bad night, or that pressure is just insane and he couldn't handle it. But the biggest bitch move Not being able to not handle the pressure. I'm sure no matter how much you train, you're just not ready for somebody marching forward. The biggest bitch move, the way he handled everything. Went out of there, no interview. The press conference, he sends his coach. I mean, that's just whatever. So respect for the amount of fights that he takes, putting himself out there for us, for the fans. Disrespect for like just the bullshit antics. You took an L. Aljamain Sterling, take some notes from him. A lot of people didn't like Aljo based on all his bullshit and how he won the belt. He took his loss like a man. He went out there. I lost. He did the press. He did all the things. Be like Aljo. Usman, same thing. Took his loss, went out like a regular human being, not this crybaby tantrum. That's Izzy. The Chepe fight. Chepe, the underdog lock of the week. Reality is, I broke down that fight and I said, Chepe could win this fight. I'm going to be on the other side. I think the leg kicks are the difference. And if you watch that first round, it looked like the leg kicks were going to be the difference. Chepe's calf was swelling. It was getting bad. But then he had that dog in him. He came out in the second round, far more pressure in Jack Jenkins' face, and then tried to make something happen, and he did. A lot of people calling that a fluke. Listen, I had a bet with Jack Jenkins, so I would have preferred if Jack Jenkins won. A lot of people calling the Chepe win a fluke because Jack broke his arm. No fluke. That initiated with Chepe. He came forward. He stayed in his face. He tried to work the wrestling. Jack tried the whizzer, and Chepe, the college wrestler, threw over the top of it, and that's what happens. I mean, one of the first things you learn while doing judo or wrestling as a kid is how to fall. They literally teach you how to fall first. Jack Jenkins doesn't have that skill set. He didn't wrestle that way. He didn't learn how to fall. Brace when he shouldn't have braced. Boom, shoulder. I'm not saying Jack Jenkins wouldn't have won that fight. I'm just saying let's not call Chepe's win a fluke. Yes, he lost that first round, but he came out in the second, made adjustments, got in his face, and then came forward and won that fight. So Chepe, nice win. Jamie Malarkey. I had a bet on Jamie Malarkey. That bet cashed. I think Jamie Malarkey lost that fight. Close enough that it's not a wild controversy. He's at home. Let's give him the homer call. I was kind of hoping for a homer call on Izzy. He's at home. Let's give him a homer call. But the reality is the damage, he was the one. Every time he got hit, he reacted. It looked like it hurt. I think John Makdessi won that fight, but I'll take the bet. I'll cash it. Overall, honestly, considering the travesty that was one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport, overall good night. Up money in general. Things are going well. Let's parlay that into UFC, or actually not UFC, Noche UFC. Our premium members continue to crush $20,000 in winnings. The fact that there were $20,000 in winnings from premium members on a card with the biggest upset in history, and then the Jack Jenkins loss, couple of those did not go people's ways. Those were two of the more parlayed fighters in the sport. And our premium members still absolutely crushed. Here's some context. Gary Clint said, I don't know where to send the money shots, meaning his winning ticket, but I wanted to say that you guys are the best. And he shared about $300 to $400 in DraftKings winnings. Then IB Win said, shout out to We Want Picks. I'm up $2,000 over the past 5 events, and I owe it all to you. Digital Zulo hitting a couple $1,000 on the lock of the week. Riffraff, who sent us this shirt. Give Riffraff a shout out in the Discord. He sent Jacob and I these shirts to our P.O. box. Riffraff, thousands of dollars on his bets. But what I do want to highlight here is the daily fantasy. So a lot of people come here, they just want to copy paste bets, and I get it. But the reason our premium is a step above everybody else's is we give you tools, we give you insight, and we do more than just a handful of bets. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell a premium service that do 4 or 5 bets a week. And you know what? Fine. But the reality is that's all you're getting is a couple of bets a week. And if he has a bad week, that's it. The whole thing is done. If she has a bad week, the whole thing is done. We give you tools, information, insight, and we do the bets, the props, DraftKings, FanDuel, all of those. And here's some non-betting successes. Hawkwind said, I just joined Underdog Fantasy solely because of We Want Picks recommending it and then having those weekly videos. So I put those videos out every Friday. And now I love it. I won $250 on a $10 play the first time I tried. Then we have Ill Will Flexum. He absolutely crushed $500 on Underdog Fantasy. He said, cash me out, Sean. And if you watch my Underdog Fantasy video, I had Sean Strickland in the Underdog Fantasy. Toxic Positivity has over $500 or $1,000 in daily fantasy winnings between DraftKings and Underdog. And then Lee put up some big money as well. Premium members continue to have success. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, use all the tools, do all the things to help you make some money watching these fights. You're going to get things like the line movement tracker. The line movement tracker is going to give you opening odds, current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every single fight on every single card. You're going to get the DraftKings Optimizer. This will literally build DraftKings lineups for you. I'm filming this at 7 o'clock in the morning, so this whole $20,000 worth of winnings, it's going to be much higher than that when everybody wakes up and starts sending their stuff in. Last week, somebody used the DraftKings Optimizer, hit a $52,000 DraftKings tournament and said, all I did was use the optimizer. You're going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. This is 38 columns of data and information that you can use, you can sort through, you can look at, you can work with to help find your own spots or maybe scare you away from a couple of bad ones. And it's also not just me, not just Jacob. Premium membership is all those tools, all that information, but also my picks and bets, Jacob's picks and bets, Running Mouth MMA, there's 3 of them, their picks and bets. You're going to get Artem, his picks and bets, and Artem does way more than just UFC. You're going to get LFA, Bellator, PFL, all of those as well, the Contender Series, and then the Pick Doctor. The Pick Doctor is a nuclear physicist who has developed an AI to pick fights. You can follow that journey. You can check out those fights and those picks as well. All of this, all of it is only $10 a month at WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member. Don't forget, we got the P.O. Box. I mentioned Riff Raff sent us these shirts. Jacob's Lock of the Week at the UFC 292 pay-per-view, UFC Boston. We appreciate him for sending these, and if anybody wants to send anything, good or bad, here is the address. We will open that stuff up on the live streams or in the Fight Foods vlog video every single time. Let's go ahead and break down this card. Noche UFC is an interesting fight card because it's at T-Mobile Arena, which is where they do all the big pay-per-views, but it's a fight night. There's a title fight, but it's a fight night. It's also Mexico themed. You would think that this was in Mexico City, but it's not. It's on Mexican Independence Day at T-Mobile Arena with a title fight, but it is a free card for everybody on ESPN Plus. And that's what makes this so interesting. There's a very Mexico-heavy theme here. They even built a belt, a custom belt for Alexa Grasso. So let's go ahead and break down this card. I'm going to give you the picks, my predictions, and my bets. Opening up the card is Marnic Mann taking on Josefine Knutsson. You're going to say, who are these two people? And this is a completely new fight. Josefine Knutsson stepped up on short notice to replace somebody. She was supposed to fight Eisman Lucindo. Then Eisman drops. So then Marnic Mann shows up to replace Eisman. So both of these women are here on short notice to fight each other. Marnic Mann, 6-1. Not a wild depth of career, but that's a decent amount of experience. She is 30 years old. She's a well-rounded fighter. She can be aggressive with her striking, her wrestling, and her grappling. She has no issues coming forward. She will get into a slugfest, and then she'll transition to wrestling. On top, she's going to pound away. If you create a scramble, she's going to roll with it. She's going to look for submissions. She is far more impressive than her lone Contender Series loss. She's taking on Josefine Knutsson. First of all, I spelled Josephine so wrong, and I'm looking at it now. She spells it Josefine, but I didn't even spell it the right way. I wrote Josephone. So we're just going to move past that because, yeah, it's already recording. Josefine Knutsson is an accomplished kickboxer. She uses forward pressure and combination. She likes to overwhelm her opponents. Her volume is impressive on her way in, and she does a great job just blasting your legs and blasting those kicks on the way out. While she is a striker, she can also grapple her. She's mostly looking for cage control, but she ends up on top. She's got solid pressure. She's coming off that Contender Series win just a few weeks ago. Very quick turnaround for her, where she did work in a takedown, quite a bit of cage control against a very dangerous striker. I like Marnic here. She's a 3-1 underdog, and I'm not sure why, because both these women are stepping up on short notice. So there's no, full camp versus short notice. And I fully recognize that Knutsson is going to be the better striker overall, but Marnic has slick grappling, a nice level change for her takedowns, and I'm going to go with her. Very low confidence pick here, but when the prop bets drop, I might do a plus 3.5. If you don't know what that is, we talked about that before. You can buy points on the judges' scorecard. You know, football starts today, and a lot of people love betting the spread, right? You can have a losing team, but they don't lose by a lot, and you can still hit your bet. Marnic Mann at plus 3.5. I'm going to buy some points on the judges' scorecard, and if she loses a 29-28 decision, I'll get paid. We'll see what those odds are. Considering she's a 3-1 dog right now, that might be a plus money bet, and I'm probably going to go ahead and take a hard look at that. You're only going to get that at wewantpicks.com/bets if you go into BetOnline. That's a BetOnline exclusive. If you use the link, I'll send you $50. If you're already a premium member, make sure your alerts are turned on. So when the props drop, the alerts are the most important for like Tuesdays and Fridays. When those prop bets drop and we start attacking them, those lines move so much, so quickly. So you're going to want to get the alert on your phone, take a look and say, oh, okay, I like it or I don't. And then go from there. Just click on your account page, click Discord, and then you're going to go ahead. I get, no exaggeration, probably 50 to 60 messages a week saying, why am I not premium in the Discord anymore? What happened? Before you message me, try logging out and logging back in. That fixes 99% of the problems. IT 101. Last thing before I move on, her name's Josefine Knutsson. Can we take a bet? Let me know in the comment section. Don't tell that ginger. Can we take a bet how many times or if Jacob is going to try to nuts in your mouth? Positive he's going to do it. You know how many times a week he tries me to get to say Yukon? My wife drives a Yukon Denali. Hey, what's Tiffany's car? What is that? It's not a Tahoe. What is it? Just so I can say Yukon. He go, you can suck on these. That's what I deal with. I'm trying to run a business with that guy. Next up, at Noche UFC, we have Charlie Campbell taking on Alex Reyes. Charlie Campbell is stepping up on short notice. He's replacing Natan Levy. Natan Levy, poor bastard, had 2 fights canceled when he was supposed to fight Pete Rodriguez. That guy sucks. He's out of the UFC. Fine. They finally give him a fight. He's taking on Alex Reyes. Dominic Reyes' younger brother who hasn't fought in 6 years. Oh, great. Here you go, Natan. You're going to get a nice, easy win. And then in like his pre-fight blood work, I'm not a doctor, and I forget exactly what Natan said it was, but it's like wild blood issues. So hopefully Natan is okay, and that guy can't catch a freaking break. We got Charlie Campbell, 7-2. This guy's a technical striker. He likes to pick his shots. He uses accuracy instead of just coming forward with wild combinations. So one shot at a time, he's going to move, bang, bang, instead of just blah, blah, blah. He is a bit hittable because his hands are low. He does have nice leg kicks. He has great takedown defense, and he's very busy on top. He's coming out of that Sarah Longo fight gym, the Aljo, the Marabs. He's coming out of that gym. So you know that even though this is UFC debut, he's been getting some high-level training and some high-level looks for a little while now. He's taking on Alex Reyes. This kid's coming back after almost 6 years away. He had some major health issues, then a couple of small little ones after that. But he assures us that it's all in the past and he's good to go. He is light heavyweight Dominic Reyes' little brother or older brother. I forget which one's which, but he's Dominic Reyes' brother. And prior to his layoff, he was a forward pressure guy. He would brawl on the feet. He would quickly look to grapple. On top, he would pressure up and just throw big, heavy bombs looking for a stoppage. He has been gone for 6 years, and that's what's hard. So I can watch all the tape I want to watch. But that was 6 years ago. Maybe he's a completely different fighter. He's older now. He's more mature. The 30-year-old guy versus a 36-year-old guy. There's so many nuances there, but all I can do is assume that he's basically what he was, and maybe a little better, maybe a little worse. This is a brand new fight. The odds just dropped late last night or early this morning. Charlie Campbell's a 4-1 favorite. And I find that seeing the odds before predicting fights can definitely affect the prediction. So I try to avoid them. And I did this whole breakdown before seeing those odds. And I love Charlie in this spot. He has the striking. He's got good takedown defense to sort of keep the fight wherever he wants to keep it. Alex has gone way too long without fighting. And even the most popular video of Charlie, even though the most popular video of Charlie that you're going to find is him getting knocked out by Chris Duncan, I promise you that is not a reflection of who he is as a fighter. He's a solid guy. He could absolutely dominate here. I was really hoping the books were going to slip up and give us like 2-1 odds on Charlie or something because he's a short notice guy, but they know better. They know better. He's a -400 favorite here, and he absolutely should be. Don't just Google him. See, because all the videos, because Dana White reacted to the Chris Duncan knocking Charlie Campbell. I was like, ugh! That's 90% of the videos on him. Do not let that fool you. First of all, Chris Duncan's a savage. Second of all, Charlie Campbell is so much better than that one loss. The -400 makes a lot of sense. You know, I don't know if I'm going to do anything with it because that's still a lot of money to spend on a UFC debut who's stepping up on short notice, but he's certainly worth it, and he's certainly going to win this fight. Then we have a grappler's delight. We got Tracy Cortez taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius. Tracy Cortez is a fantastic wrestler, very good grappler, whose last fight was canceled at weigh-ins. She showed up, supposed to fight Amanda Hebos, weighed in, boom, canceled. It was very mysterious, honestly. Something happened at the pre-fight medical or something that it's canceled, I want my privacy, and then her and Brian Ortega broke up. I had my theories. I'm not going to say what they are now because, there's no reason to. But I had my theories about what it was. But anyway, very good wrestler, very good grappler. She's listed as having a positive striking differential. But please keep in mind that she also gets almost 3 takedowns per fight, and she spends the majority of these fights on top. So while she's on top, she's landing punches and not getting hit. So the fact that she is hit with almost 3 significant strikes per minute, combined with the fact that she spends 90% of the fight on top, tells you that her striking is pretty bad and she's getting lit up on her feet. I mean, that's all that means. She's not doing well on her feet. But the reality is she is a wrestler. She's always looking to get it to the ground. She's coming off that 29-28 win over Melissa Gatto before the canceled fight, where she had only 2 takedowns, but more total strikes and control. She's taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius. As you know, she is our girl. We picked her to beat Miranda Maverick. Huge underdog. People weren't a fan of that pick. We love her here. This is a really tough fight. This isn't necessarily Jasmine versus Miranda Maverick. Jasmine is a wrestler, though. She likes to come forward. She wants to push a pace with her striking before working in her takedown. She does have a solid clinch where she can control your body, throw heavy knees, and then she'll work in some takedowns from there. She's a very accomplished wrestler. She's not just started wrestling when she took up MMA. She wrestled long before MMA and then transitioned into MMA. She's got fantastic hips as well, so even if she has a bad entry or if there's a scramble, she'll usually end up on top. She's coming off that destruction over Miranda Maverick where she only needed 1 takedown and she took the opportunity to showcase her striking. That's the most impressive part about that fight to me, is that Jasmine only had 1 takedown. She didn't need a wild wrestle-heavy game plan. She controlled the striking, her takedown defense was good enough, and she went 1 for 1 on takedown attempts. I like Jasmine here. Obviously, we were all over her in the Miranda Maverick fight. We made a bunch of money off that. This fight feels somewhat similar. Tracy is a wrestler with poor striking, as Miranda was. Her BJJ is actually very, very good, but that only matters if Tracy can get the fight to the ground. Jasmine is a genuine wrestler. She's competed at a high level. Taking her down is not really an easy thing to do. If you go back, you'll see that Natalia Silva did take her down, but Natalia Silva was able to take down Jasmine because her striking is so good. She used the striking to set up the takedowns, and Jasmine just sort of all out of sorts, couldn't find a rhythm. Tracy doesn't have good enough striking to get Jasmine worried and then transition to wrestling. So Tracy's going to be all in on the wrestling. And I have always said this is going to contradict my pick. My pick is Jasmine. I have always said it is easier to take somebody down than it is to defend a takedown. So even though Tracy's not as good of a wrestler as Jasmine, if she's shooting first, if she's initiating the takedowns, she actually could have quite a bit of success because it's much harder to defend than it is to finish. I'm still going to pick Jasmine. 2 reasons. 1, she's a dog. She's an absolute dog. She just says what she thinks, comes forward and fights. She's in your face. Tracy has a lot going on. Her last fight was canceled. It was a medical thing. It was canceled for a medical I don't know how severe, how insignificant it was, but there was a medical reason her last fight was canceled. Was super weird about it, quiet about it. Then her and Brian Ortega break up. Then all these dramatic posts. There's a lot going on there. And then couple that with the fact that she absolutely needs to get this to the ground to win, and she has to go up against somebody who has better wrestling credentials than her. I like Jasmine to win. I have a half a unit on her at plus 100. Much better odds now. I missed out on that line. I think she's plus 150 now or something to that effect. I get people who think that Tracy's going to win, and if Tracy comes in, shoots a million takedowns, and wins this fight, it would not be the most shocking thing in the world, but I am on the Jasmine side of this fight. Then we got Edgar Chairez taking on Daniel Lacerda. Edgar Chairez, this guy's a solid fighter. He did make his short notice UFC debut against Tatsuro Taira. He almost shocked the world. He was a plus 600 underdog. His striking offense is fast. It's in your face. His takedowns are decent. His BJJ is very good as well. The only real issue for him is that he is hittable, but he's got a good enough chin that it doesn't always matter. He's going to come forward. He's going to throw long kicks. He's going to box you up. Then maybe he'll snatch a single leg and look to get it to the ground. He's coming off that decision loss to Tatsuro Taira, but he did knock that dude down. He almost played spoiler as the biggest dog on that card. taking on Daniel Lacerda. This kid's still looking for his first UFC win. He's been 0-4 in the UFC so far, but he's not a bum. He is better than that record. Style-wise, he's a solid striker with good kicks and forward pressure. If he gets it to the ground, he's got really good control and pressure from top as well, but his takedowns aren't great, so that's not really a guarantee. He is a feast or famine guy. All 11 wins and 5 losses are by stoppage. He's very dangerous, but he is willing to put himself in harm's way to chase a stoppage. He's coming off that second-round loss to CJ Vergara, but if you remember, he almost had CJ out cold no less than 5 times. He had CJ half dead. And I guess kudos to that referee who was like, yeah, I will let you die. CJ put it together. He was fighting at home and then got it done in the second round. Daniel Lacerda is 0-4 in the UFC, but he keeps getting fights. Honestly, it's probably because he's insanely excited. He's never been in a boring fight. He's very talented, and you can see flashes of UFC caliber fighter in there. His loss to CJ was wild. He was absolutely perfect most of that fight, and that loss says more about CJ's durability than it does about Lacerda's fighting abilities. Lacerda's at plus 185 as an underdog, almost a 2-1 dog here. A lot of people are going to blindly bet Chairez because they're going to look at both their last performances. Wow, Chairez looked incredible against a massive favorite. Daniel Lacerda 0-4 in the UFC. People are going to see that. They're going to blindly parlay and bet on Edgar Chairez. Edgar is still the pick here. He should absolutely be the favorite, but he is hittable. Lacerda hits insanely hard. I think the better way to go is fight does not go the distance. It's going to be juiced. Maybe you can parlay it. Maybe they're dumb enough to give us a 2.5 round line. There's no way that's going to happen, but I'm not going to bet on Edgar here. I do think he's going to win this fight, but man, the beating that CJ just took, I don't think Edgar could take that same beating. So be a little careful when you're looking at the 3-1 favorite here and thinking that it's going to be easy money because he's fighting a guy who's winless in the UFC. Then we have Roman Kopylov taking on Josh Fremd with a quick turnaround. Roman Kopylov is a fantastic kickboxer. He got professional, high-level kickboxing experience. He picks his shots well, and then he'll settle in. He'll weave together some really nice combinations. He started his UFC career with 2 losses. He was taken down in both of them. He had no answer on the ground, no ability to work back up. He has since put together 3 knockout wins in a row, and he has reminded everyone there that there are levels to striking. He's coming off the exciting, the great fight with Claudio Ribeiro in that second-round knockout win. He's taking on Josh Fremd. This kid's a grappler. He's solid athleticism. He does have some sneaky power in his punches, and when he can initiate the grappling exchanges, he can do very well. When he can't, he looks a bit lost. He does have cardio. He does have speed. He does have power. He's a pretty well-rounded guy, and he's well-rounded enough to make adjustments in fights. He has no true mixed martial arts background or any martial art background. He just started competing in MMA. We're going to see more of that as this sport continues to evolve. He's coming off that disappointing performance over Jamie Pickett. Yes, he won. He was actually in the safety parlay. And I put him in the safety parlay because I thought so little of Jamie Pickett, and I shouldn't have done that because Josh Fremd looked like shit in that fight. 0-for-3 on takedowns. He was taken down twice. I mean, Josh Fremd in that Jamie Pickett fight was terrible. He won. Safety parlay cash, good to go. But Josh Fremd looked terrible in that fight. Don't just see the decision, but, oh, he looked bad in that fight. This is Roman all day. He's minus 275. He, frankly, might be the best value on this card. Literally, right now at minus 275, I think Roman Kopylov is the best value on this card. What's Josh going to do? Take him down? He struggled to take down Jamie Pickett because he didn't do it. He isn't going to knock Roman out. He's not even going to be able to hang on the feet. Josh is a tough kid. Roman striking is absolutely next level. Josh being the much better grappler only matters if he can get it to the ground. Roman's going to be the high confidence pick here. I do think he's safe for parlays. You know, Josh's big win was against that street fighter from Florida. That's his big win. He just took him down over and over and over. The kid had nothing to offer on the ground. Dumas. I just don't think that's going to be Roman Kopylov. This is a dude who has competed at a very high level for a very long time. And obviously, every fight out there, his takedown defense is just getting a little better and a little better. So Roman Kopylov, high confidence pick for me. Then we have Lupi Godinez. It's Lupita, but you'll see her listed as Lupi. She's taking on Elise Reed. This fight was a mix-around, right? Elise was supposed to fight somebody else, and they did some shuffling, and here you go. Lupi versus Elise. Lupita Godinez is big. I mean, 5'2". This is relative for the weight class. big, strong wrestler. She's got solid striking, good, clean boxing. She has great setups to both the wrestling and the striking. She is big for this weight class. Not tall, like she's just strong and can make stuff happen, and she can bully. She uses that size. She uses that strength, and she pushes you around. She's got all the talent in the world and can genuinely beat 90% of this division if she fights to her potential. The problem is she can be a bit unreliable. Just go watch that razor thin win over Cynthia Calvillo, where she just wasn't doing what she was supposed to do, or even that loss to Angela Hill. She's taking on Elise Reed. She's a busy striker. She sets an incredible pace. She has surprising power for her size and weight class. She's a decent grappler as well with very good cardio. Like Lupi, she can be hot and cold in her performances. She had that big upset win over Corey McKenna. Then she came back and she got dismantled by Sam Hughes. Then she came back out. She beat Melissa Martinez, where she knocked her down, had a whole bunch of takedowns. And then she just lost to Loma Lookboonmee. But if you zoom out, you watch that fight, that was a quality loss because she showed us how insanely tough she is. And then after that, she beat Jin Yu Fry, who's very well-rounded. Jin Yu Fry, she's starting to age out a bit, but that's a quality win for Elise. This should be Lupi all day, but she is minus 450, almost a 5-1 favorite. With her inconsistent performances, the ones that we've seen so far, I don't think a bet is worth it. We have seen how insanely tough Elise Reed can be, and we have seen Lupi freeze up and not make adjustments in some of these fights. The Lupi that fought Cynthia Calvillo loses to Elise Reed. So, with that being said, Lupi is going to be bigger, stronger, the better fighter, more talented. She's training at a better team. Lupi should win this fight. She's absolutely the pick, but these odds are far too wide for me to spend some money on somebody who has let us down before. At odds like this, she has let us down before. Then we have Fernando Padilla taking on, that didn't even sound Spanish. Fernando Padilla taking on Kyle Nelson. Fernando Padilla is a long, rangy guy, but he wants to fight in the pocket. He wants to keep it dirty. He's an aggressive striker who plots forward. He's got that pocket-style boxing, and then he works a clinch where he's going to fire knees up the middle, and then if you're unlucky enough to get to the ground, well, he's going to use his length to wrap you up and work various submissions. He likes to come forward and take risks, but he has no wrestling whatsoever. So if he wants a fight to get it to the ground, he's going to have to nerd it up with some guard pulls. He's coming off that win over Julian Erosa, where the stoppage might have been a little bit early, but it did show us how accurate of a striker Fernando can be. He's taking on Kyle Nelson. This guy's a solid striker with very real power in his hands. He's been in the UFC since 2018, and he just got his second win in the UFC. His overall record now is 2-4-1. He has a solid takedown defense. He does a really good job using his opponent's shots, and then he'll create scrambles and he'll end up on top. He did a great job making fights ugly and then winning with toughness. He's coming off that win over Blake Builder, where his pressure and takedown defense were the difference. Kyle does a great job, right? He stays in your face. He makes fights ugly. But unfortunately for him, that's exactly how Fernando wants to fight. He's long and rangy. You would think he wants to stay in the outside, but he doesn't. He loves those gritty, in-your-face fights. He wants to be in the pocket, and I think he's going to get his wish here. So Fernando's accuracy and clinch is probably going to be the difference. I wish he were a little better value. Right now, he's minus 241, but I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to use the line movement tracker, see if that's going to tighten a bit, and I could finally or find a better spot later in the week. If you don't know what the line movement tracker is, it's a tool available to premium members. It's going to give you the opening odds for every single fighter, where the odds sit today, then how that translates to win probability, and then the movement. So you can sort and interact with this to quickly identify who's becoming a favorite, who's tightening, where's the line collapsing, and look at those trends and use those trends to potentially hop on or hop off. Or in my case, I already know I want to bet on him. I don't like the value now, so I can just monitor that trend, see where it's going. If it's going to go in the wrong direction, maybe I pull the trigger. If it's tightening, then maybe I sit and wait and take a look. If you're not a premium member, become one. It's only $10 a month. Go to WeOnPicks.com, click the button at the top. If you are a premium member, just click on tools, and it's one of the many, many tools you'll see in that pull-down menu. Then we have Daniel Zellhuber. He's got taken on Christos Giagos. Daniel Zellhuber, incredible record at 13-1. He's an impressive striker, very aggressive. He's got a nice dynamic style. He's got really long limbs, and that gives him power, range, and leverage for grappling as well. Despite his long legs, he's got solid takedown defense and does a very good job kneeing and striking his way out of those exchanges. If he is taken down, he's wrapping his opponents up. He's using that length to threaten submissions. And now he's coming off the win over Lando Venata, where he showcased his technical striking and he used his length well. He's taking on Christos Giagos. This dude is a grappler. You're going to see the knockouts. He is a grappler who has proven he's never out of a fight. His grappling is solid. He does have some tricks up his sleeves as well. His striking can definitely use some work on the technical side of things, but he absolutely has insane power. He's fast, but he's unorthodox, and he just wings those punches. He's coming off that early knockout win over Ricky Glenn, and this should be a Daniel Zellhuber win all day. He's the more technical guy. He's got fantastic takedown defense. But if you look at his loss to Trey Ogden, you'll see that he defended a bunch of shots, but he never got his hands going. If Christos comes forward to wrestle heavy, he may not get all the takedowns, but he will get Zellhuber to back up and to be gun shy and could potentially take a decision. Look what Strickland just did to Izzy. Literally the same type feeling, except Christos is going to have to threaten the takedowns to get him to back up and do nothing. But you can get Daniel Zellhuber on his back foot, afraid to throw, and then you can take over the fight. If Christos sticks to that, stays in his face, backs him up, works for the legs, he could get him afraid to throw, and he could win this decision. But I just don't think that's going to happen. Zellhuber's still going to be the pick. He's too accurate of a striker, and Giagos does have a path, but he's proven to us multiple times that he's insanely tough. He's insanely dangerous, but he's not necessarily going to stick to a game plan. So Daniel Zellhuber is going to be the pick, but I'm not doing anything with this fight just yet. As I'm filming this, I get an Instagram DM from Joel. He threw $50, put up 4,500 in a parlay. He DM'd it to me on Instagram. Thanks, boys. Thanks for everything. This is a premium member, absolutely crushing it. I started this video with the premium members are up $20,000. Well, it's $24,536. $24,536. It's up. That's the problem with filming these so early after pay-per-views. All the winning tickets and stuff start coming in while I'm filming or after I'm done. Anyway, let's move on. We got Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Terrence Mitchell. Raul Rosas Jr., this kid is a non-stop grappler, barely old enough to go to a titty bar, but he is old enough to get in that cage and start diving at legs. He has 8 takedowns in 3 fights with 19 minutes of control time. His striking definitely needs some work. He's going to come out a little reckless. He can put himself into harm's way just for no reason at all, but he's fast, he's athletic, he sets a relentless pace. He is coming off his first loss where he reminded us that he's only 18. He has some very low fight IQ moments where he was just hanging on to submissions that weren't there. He was gassing, and not because he had poor cardio. He was gassing because he was doing the wrong things too intensely. When you start fighting and you have more and more experience, you learn when you can rest. You learn where you can take your breaks. You learn where you should go all in. You learn where you shouldn't. And because he's so young and he's so excited, he goes out there, everything with 100%, and then he started to slow down and he lost that fight. He's taking on Terrence Mitchell. This guy's a long, lean grappler who doesn't have the best takedowns, but he's very dangerous on the ground. Unfortunately for him, his most popular video on YouTube is cocky fighter gets knocked out in 30 seconds because he was an absolute asshole to Kai Kara-France on The Ultimate Fighter and then was knocked out when they actually fought. He does not suck on his feet, though. He got caught. He got blasted by a very good striker. He's fast. He does a great job throwing up kicks without notice. He's just right in your face. Boom, kick right up the middle. He can knock you out. He can submit you. And he also has the cardio and the takedown defense to just hang out and keep going. But he can also be held down, taken down, and just ridden out while squirming off his back. Raul got a massive reality check in his last fight. He lost that fight because he's young and he's inexperienced. He lost that fight because he has not had to push through adversity just yet. So the first time he hit a wall, it didn't go his way. But he didn't know what to do. That was new to him. And I think it was very important that that happened to him, and it happened to him on that stage, and it happened to him early. Because I think that he's going to come out here, hopefully be a little more composed. Hopefully he got that out of his system. He was getting pretty full of himself, and hopefully that brought him down just a peg. I do think he's going to win this fight. He should absolutely be able to beat Terrence here. Terrence can get taken down. Raul gets takedowns. This should be a pretty straightforward grappling win for Raul. I think he's going to come forward, dive at legs, do what he does normally, but hopefully be a little more composed about it because Terrence Mitchell is a durable guy. He's not somebody you're just going to whoop, whoop, done. especially in the grappling department. So Raul should be good. He should be good to parlay. I haven't done a parlay yet, but I mean, Raul and Roman Kopylov, I mean, that should hit 99 out of 100 times, and the 100th time is he losing to Strickland. And we have the co-main event of the evening. This is a great co-main event. I am very excited for this fight. Jack Della Maddalena having his toughest test yet, taking on Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is an accurate and powerful striker who has slightly improved his takedown defense to 53%, but he's very solid in the grappling department when he is taken down. Other than the wrestling defense, which we historically have given him a very hard time about, he's a problem for a lot of people. He's a sniper on his feet. He's got great accuracy, great range. He can also grapple, as I mentioned, and be competitive on the ground with his length. Just because it's easy to take him down doesn't necessarily mean that you can just take him down and hang out. He's going to create scrambles. He's going to create openings. He's going to strike from bottom. He's going to try to make stuff happen. He's coming off that very lopsided win over Michael Chiesa where he defended 5 takedown attempts and he got the submission in half of a round. He's taking on Jack Maddalena. This guy's a high-volume striker with an incredible jab. He plots forward on his toes. He pumps that jab. If his opponent throws back, he's going to move, restart that cycle. He's got solid power. His nose is facing west when his eyes are facing east, but this guy's dangerous on the feet. His jiu-jitsu is there if he needs it. His takedown defense is solid, and while he was taken down 3 times in his last fight, he defended 17 attempts. You're going to see an 81% takedown defense. I was surprised. I'm like, that seems a little high. And then I looked, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, because Rafa Baez attempted 20 takedowns. So it's a bit inflated there, but he does have some solid takedown defense, a very, very dangerous striker. This is a great fight, and this is going to be Jack Maddalena's first real test, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm trying very hard not to have recency bias here, because if you look at just their last fights, you're going to remortgage your house, or in Jacob's case, ask your parents if you can stay in the basement a little longer, and throw it all on Holland, because the reality is Maddalena did not look good in his last fight. He had a hard time with the power and the pressure of Basel Hafez. And even though he defended takedowns, he did give up more takedowns in that fight than he ever has before. In Holland's last fight, he was accurate, powerful, and he looked like the prospect that we all want him to be. Conventional wisdom is going to say that Maddalena will be the busy striker and he'll take the decision, but I am going to lean Holland. It might be recency bias. I'm hoping it's not. And I just think it's going to come down to, I know how tough Holland is. I know how powerful he is. He has fought some of the best middleweights in the world. And now at welterweight, he's looked very, very good. The only real bet here, though, is probably going to be over 2.5, since both of these guys are very, very tough. But I am on the Holland side. I'm going to take a look. We'll see what this line does. If Holland becomes a big underdog, then maybe I'll throw something at it. But I think this line's probably going to go up and down. I think people are going to bet on Maddalena. And then they're going to look at Holland and be like, this guy's way too good to be a 2-1 dog. Bet on Holland. Well, Maddalena's very good. And I think it's just going to yo-yo. But I'll keep an eye on it. We'll see. I do think Kevin Holland can absolutely win this fight. He's bigger. He's more accurate. Is he faster and busier? No. I mean, look at the strikes landed per minute on Jack Maddalena. But I think Holland can get this done. And we'll see what I do betting-wise later in the week. And that takes us to our main event of the evening. As we know, this is a rematch. Alexa Grasso beat Valentina Shevchenko earlier this year. Valentina was a minus 1,200 favorite. So everybody's talking about, is he the biggest upset? Valentina was literally, statistically, a bigger upset loss. I think the difference between the perceived upset with Izzy and Strickland and Valentina and Grasso was that most people, and everybody's like, you know how many people in the comment sections now, oh, I knew Strickland would win. Oh, you didn't say it before the fight. Where was that energy before the fight? Anyway, I think the reality is a lot of people did not think Strickland was going to win. So when he did, it was shocking. Where most people recognized Valentina's probably going to win this. She's the GOAT, but Alexa's very good. People didn't give Strickland that same credit. So Valentina was a minus 1,200 favorite. The fight was close. It did look like Valentina was going to win. It looked like she didn't look like a 1,200 favorite, but it looked like she was about to win before she was submitted in the 4th round. It's going to be a fun fight because Alexa Grasso is a fun striker. She's got nice volume, good takedown defense at 61%. She stays busy. She's landing almost 5 significant strikes per minute. She's going to move really well. She has no problem slugging out in the pocket. And while she does have some power, it's not fight-ending power, and we don't think it's translated all the way up to 125. She is 5-0 at 125. Let's not forget, she started her career as a 115-pounder, had some, those 3 losses, and then moved up to 125, and now she looks unbeatable, which really says a lot about her actual skill set, and the fact that maybe she's not cutting weight gets her a little more comfortable. Now she's a little faster than these bigger women. She's taking on Valentina Shevchenko, the GOAT. She is the GOAT of this weight class, right? Just losing your belt doesn't remove that status, right? We'll see over time if that holds up, but as of right now, Valentina Shevchenko is the best flyweight in the women's division that we've ever had. She won the belt in 2018. She defended it 7 times before she lost it to Grasso. Great striker, great grappler, true championship composure and mindset. Her striking is some of the best in any division. She's technical. She's got enough power combined with technique that she's just putting people away. The last few years of her game, we have seen it evolve. All of a sudden, she's working in beautiful judo trips and takedowns. She has 25 takedowns in her last 6 fights, including 4 against Grasso. My gut reaction is, well, Valentina lost on a fluke. You should bet the hell out of her at minus 164. I went through all of her fights to look at the odds for every single fight that she's ever had. The last time that her odds resembled minus 164 is all the way back in 2017 when she fought Amanda Nunes. But when I take a step back, I look a little closer, I see that she barely beat Taila Santos. A lot of people think that she lost to Taila Santos. And then in the Grasso fight, we all think she was winning that fight, but she did not look good. Alexis seemed to be controlling the striking. Alexis seemed to have a lot of success there. So then Valentina, because she is the champion, she's got that composure, said, let me wrestle. This isn't go. Let me wrestle. And that's where she started to have the success, was the wrestling. But the striking did not go the way that a lot of people thought it was going to go. I'm still picking Valentina despite the poor performance against Taila, despite her losing this exact fight just 6 months ago. I think that she's going to show up like a Nurmagomedov sister and just wrestle heavy. I think she's just going to come forward, shoot. And I think this is going to look closer to, her regaining her swagger and her championship than it is to like the Usman-Edwards fight. I don't think this is a changing of the guard. I think this Alexa is a game fighter who fought a great fight and seized her opportunity. And I think Valentina recognized, well, I dominated with the wrestling, so let me come in here and stick to the wrestling. So I like Valentina Shevchenko here. No bet, though. And maybe I'm just burned. I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you right now. Remember when Amanda Nunes fought again? She lost her belt, fought for her belt back, and the odds were like reasonable. It was like, this is the greatest value you're ever going to see. That might be this case. Minus 164 on the women's GOAT might be the greatest value we're ever going to see. We'll see what I do with that later in the week. Right now, I got some PTSD from UFC 293, but I'm going with Valentina Shevchenko here. I fully recognize how good Alexa Grasso is. Let me send you $50. I pay out thousands of dollars a month. Today, Sunday, is payday. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to upload it. And I'm going to pay out probably 20 people or so their $50. All you need to do to get that money is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use our link to sign up with any one of our betting partners. Make a deposit, and I send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me, so I take off a piece of that money, and I give it right back to you. You can take that money and become a premium member. Everybody wants to talk about the bets. That's all anybody wants to talk about. But I'm here to remind you that premium membership is so much more than just some bets. We have courses, literally courses that teach you how to do things. The very first course is the Beginner's Guide to Playing DraftKings Fantasy. I'll tell you right now, it's a ton of fun, super easy way to really get into the daily fantasy market. But this right here is going to give you the ins and the outs and really teach you how to get going there. You're also going to get the line movement tracker. I've mentioned this a few times today. It's a tool that's going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every single fight. You're going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. This is going to help you identify spots, help you remove yourself from a situation when you see, whoa, that's his takedown percentage. Whoa, that's how many takedowns he's giving up. All of that information is right there along the chart to give you those spots, teach a man to fish. I'm trying to give you the tools so you can help find your spots, fade us, make your own, do whatever you want to do there. You're going to get more than just me and Jacob. You're going to get Runny Mouth MMA. There are 3 of them giving you their picks for every single fight. 3 of them giving you their bets for every single fight. You're also going to get Artem, who's breaking down more than just UFC. You're getting PFL. You're getting Contender Series. You're getting Bellator. And then you're going to get the Pick Doctor, an AI that picks fights, guys. All of this, everything I just mentioned and all the things I didn't mention are all bundled together for only $10 a month. Just go to WeWantPicks.com and click Become a Member at the top.